Spiderpod. I've been waiting to see that. I don't have any other words.
You didn't even finish it.
I don't have any other words.
If
we're gonna talk about Spider-Man. Turn it off if you don't want spoilers. But if you care about spoilers, then you didn't see the movie. So fuck off. This is the Spiderpod.
That was good. Good freestyle. Now I want to hear you in a freestyle battle.
There's one story. I'm not gonna get I freestyled in a car with beats going on a loop from like central Pennsylvania to DC nonstop. It was otherworldly. I can never recreate it. I have no idea what happened. I wasn't high. I should have been high, but I was on some like other shit. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Was there anybody in the car with you?
Yeah, Brennan was there.
Okay.
I was going on him like nonstop. He had to take a shit like really, really badly. I'll never forget when we pulled to the school. He's running away to try to find somewhere to go shit, like underneath the streetlights. It's one of those images just ingrained in my head.
That's crazy.
Spiderpod. Come on. All right, let's get into it.
All right. So, welcome back to Unequal Opinions. Right?
That's the name of our show. Yes.
Yeah. I was about to say all sorts of sports, but you know.
It's been a while since we've done one of these.
I know.
It's been a minute.
Whose fault is this?
Everybody's.
Okay, cool. I was just gonna take the blame, but
no, everybody's.
Cool.
We're a team.
Oh,
we're a team.
All right. So we've all seen Spider-Man, and I know we all have thoughts. My thoughts are a little bit sillier than y'all's because y'all are more serious. So I'll host and ask the questions, and y'all can get into y'all shit.
If anybody wants to know why this is going down the way it does, go check a look at the last Unequal page on the top 10 MCU movies. We'll see why Jay's been stripped of his privilege.
I mean, look, first off, fuck y'all. But second, it's fair. It's cool.
I can't wait to see how you rank these, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Hey, man, look, listen. Y'all might be surprised. I don't know.
No, I think that I know I will be surprised.
I don't think he can fuck it up. I just think he can't fuck this one up.
You know who you're talking to.
Yeah, fuck it.
He gonna be like, man,
I can fuck up some.
Yo, Jamie Foxx was amazing. He's the best villain of all time.
Exactly. He gonna be like, hey, I really love Venom and Spider-Man 3.
I'll bring out like another like movie reference. You're like, what the fuck, James? It's gonna happen.
Oh, God.
Right. So how are we gonna do this? Is we're gonna start with the review of the movie itself, and then we're gonna go into a little bit of rankings, as in like the rankings of all the Spider-Man movies, where we see it in the MCU. And then the Spider-Man themselves. And then we're going to go into what's next for Spider-Man.
Legit. Right.
So let's start off with the review of the movie. I only saw it once because COVID. Yeah. It's affecting the household right now. So
right. Forgot about that.
How many times did you guys see it?
I've only seen it once so far, but I'm probably gonna go see it tomorrow on my birthday.
Nice.
Just watch it again. Like, this is my birthday gift.
Happy early birthday. You know what? All right, Kata, how about you?
Sorry, hang on. I just had something come out. I've seen the movie 3 times in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in the DC area, just go to the Alamo Drafthouse. I went to another theater, and it was the second time I saw this movie, which I did going into it expecting it to be better than the first time, just because you're catching so much stuff, right? And now you know like what's coming. You can really take a look at all these other. There were these group of teenagers there that just ruined everything for me. And the theater, it was like a closing theater, and they hadn't cleaned inside for like 2 weeks. I sat in popcorn. It was just a mess. But the film experience, I will say, every time I've gone as far as the actual viewing of the movie itself, I've enjoyed it even more. Even with some issues I might have with some of the plot, even with some issues I might have with how this might not make sense in certain ways, I still find it to be an extremely enjoyable movie. And what I've been doing before, every time I go to watch it, I'm watching 1 or 2 of the old Spider-Man movies right before I go in. Because, I mean, it's one thing, as we warned you guys in my Spiderpod freestyle, we're spoiling the shit out of this, right? So, like, to see Andrew Garfield, to see Tobey Maguire, and Keem, you called it on, I think, the MCU pod, where the moment that we're all talking about, and I'll just get into it, the Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saving Gwen Stacy. The first time I watched the movie, I had just seen Amazing Spider-Man 1 not too long before I saw it the first time, but I was like, you know what? I got to go back and watch Amazing Spider-Man 2 just before, so it can hit the way it needs to hit. And sure enough, 2 movies in a row, tears streaming down my fucking face when he makes the catch. And it was just dope. It was such a fun time, man.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. It was a great time. And that scene specifically, like, I almost yelled in the theater. I was like, he did. I was going to say he did it. But I did not. But
I thought about you immediately.
Silently yelled. I was like, he did it. I was talking to Elise like, he did it, babe. I knew he was going to do it. but it was a great moment. It was probably that wasn't in it. Like, it had in a film that had a lot of like, fuck, this is amazing moments, like superhero moments, like just like awesome, like moments that you could feel that were palpable to you. It was just, oh man, like it was one of those top 3 kind of, it gave me that feel, that in-game kind of feel. As far as like, you know, you kind of get chills watching certain scenes, like, oh shit, like when in Endgame, it's when, you know, fucking Cap gets the hammer and shit like that, and on your left and shit like that. Yep. But Andrew saving MJ was one of those moments for me. Man, fucking Aunt May dying was one of those moments for me. It was and not just her dying. It was and I knew it was coming. I was talking to Alicia, and I never really talk in movies, but I was just so excited. And I was like, she's gonna say, with great power comes great responsibility. She's gonna say it. I was like, oh yes, she said it. It was so awesome. It was dope. Like on a scale of 0 to 10, like and this is just our first watch, and I want to taper like what I say about it, like as far as everything, because again, I have to rewatch it. I got to rewatch it. It's got to hold up. Like I got to get that second viewing in and catch some of the stuff I didn't catch. And then like look at some of the things that I considered plot holes. And so, but it's probably 8.5. I say 8.5 right now, with wiggle room to go to drop to an 8 or 9, depending on rewatchability.
All right.
I think okay.
I went 9.5.
Okay.
I love the movie.
Is Black Knight a 9.8?
Shut up. Starting in the beginning, when you see like Daredevil, I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, this is when like we went to see it at like 10 o'clock. So like I'm like next to Julie and I'm like, babe, look, the fuck. Like she's in her phone, she can give a shit. She don't care. I'm like, yo, look at this shit. I'm getting hyped in the theater. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a great movie. And yeah, it was. I love seeing all the different guys getting their actual shine, like with the MCU. You know what I mean? Like it's like, yeah, you were in the old movies, but now like since all this shit blew up, now you're here too. That was kind of cool to me.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna give it a number score, I'm probably around 8.5. Like I said, there's so many. I like what you said, Keem, as far as there being so many moments like Endgame, right? Like a lot of people when they're ranking MCU movies or they're looking at Marvel movies, it's about those moments that kind of resonate with you, like the payoff of something that they've been building up. There were a lot of those. I mean, from the moment I think probably we got the biggest pop in my theater in 2 out of the 3 theater experience I've been in was when what's his name? God damn it. What's
Ned?
When Ned opens the portal and you can tell at the end of that alleyway, everybody in the theater is like, what? No, is it? And then he comes through it's like, they did it. It's just like, it's just that to me was just like goosebumps. Like everybody had known with the spoilers and everything, like there was going to be, they probably were going to be in this, but the fact that they brought him in, I know I looked at my watch and I was like, yo, there's a lot of movie left. Like I thought they might have a cameo. They're in the movie. They're just in the movie at that point.
I expected they were going to be in the movie.
I didn't think you. I didn't think it'd be that long.
I didn't think they'd be in it that long. I thought they were going to come for the final battle.
Yeah, maybe the final battle, like that, like maybe the because and then
too big of a moment.
I don't know because I just like I knew that we were going to get the Spider-Man pointing at each other meme thing, which we got a little bit in the high school lab.
And they did it again, though. They did it again when they were at the final battle
fight.
There's a couple moments where they're kind of alluding to it, but they're not quite doing. It's weird. And you especially see it the second time you watch it because you're looking out for it.
Like really do it.
No, it would have been absolutely. If they were like in front of a van pointing at each other in costume, that would have been on the nose. But
yeah,
there's just so many moments like that.
Either too.
And that's the other thing is that just the throwaway lines that Easter eggs are throughout this fucking thing. Where Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, nobody really wants to be Spider-Man 3. There's it's just this. I know James's favorite of the Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man 3. Nobody wants to be it. The idea.
Got one more time. God damn it.
There's so many things in it that work so well as far as just. But like I said, especially watching it again, there's a lot of things that don't quite land with me that I do have some issues with. Yep. Doctor Strange was like a giant bitch.
Okay. Before you get to that, I forgot I wanted to mention One Plus, which I feel like might have been the best thing about the movie. I mean, in a movie of like we've said, like great things, put some fucking respect on Willem Dafoe's name. He came in the bitch, said, "Hey, y'all, MCU, how y'all villains looking? Y'all got Thanos?" Okay.
If we're doing that, if we're getting into the character thing, which trust me, I can go on left and all this stuff. You gotta keep me on point. The fact that they took all the best actors of any of the movies, right, and they brought them back. You have Alfred Molina is back and gets to cook as Doc Ock. You get Willem Dafoe, who's incredible, but I'm sorry, that Green Goblin mask is dog shit, and the fact that he crushes it in the first 30 seconds after you see him on the initial, which is like them showing you, it's Kevin Feige basically saying, hey, we know what you hated in those movies. Fuck it. We're doing our own thing. Electro, dog shit in Amazing Spider-Man. Hey, you know what everybody hated in Electro? His character was kind of dumb and he looked stupid. You know what we're going to do? Don't need to explain it.
And a nice haircut.
Yeah, fuck it. Who gives a shit? We're just going to do it the way that we want to do it now.
They made him a Harlem nigga.
It's just even he's like, I just like the way I look now. Oh shit, man, you got a lineup? Like it's just it's the shit. Like it's the Willem Dafoe is you can arguably say might be the best actor in any comic book movie. I mean, maybe Jack Nicholson if we're going Batman, but Willem Dafoe's an all-timer. He's an all-timer. Heath Ledger wasn't on that level until after that. But
I thought you were just talking about the performance itself.
No, not the performance, just the performance itself. But I'm saying the acting gravitas, even accepting the role. Willem Dafoe is a titan of film, especially independent film or anything. I'm a huge Willem Dafoe guy.
You got to put Gary Oldman up there. Gary
Oldman is my favorite actor of all time, and I can't believe that I missed that. But there's just so many good things working with it, and the fact that they let Willem Dafoe kind of cook more. Green Goblin's an evil son bitch. Willem Dafoe can pull off evil son bitch better than maybe anybody. And the fact that they let him do his thing better than Sam Raimi could do in the other movies was just awesome. It was just dope. He's just an evil motherfucker. Alfred Molina, seeing him kind of get back to the Doc Ock that we saw like early on in Spider-Man 2, even though if you rewatch Spider-Man 2, he goes kind of evil really quick. It's just to see him be able to show off his acting chops, and you see the range of emotion there with him. He can do rage, but he's a lot better when he's the tender Alfred Molina and more of a strong presence, but not evil, right? Jamie Foxx is probably my least favorite thing in the movie if we're looking at acting wise, because it's just hard pressed that Jamie just feels like he's in a different movie the entire time I'm watching the movie. I like Jamie, but especially the second time I watched it, it's just the more he just doesn't feel that way. And it's Thomas Jane, who's fucking dope as shit. Oh no, sorry. Thomas Hayden Church, whatever. Sandman, another dope fucking actor. Sideways, other shit that he's been in over the years. He's fucking cool as shit. Some of the de-aging stuff doesn't quite look great. There's a lot, but all right, getting back to my issues with it. Doctor Strange, it's weird. Peter Parker Spider-Man shouldn't be able to beat Doctor Strange that way. Not to mention, Doctor Strange in the spell can't just say, hang on, Peter, let's just get this figured out before I do this spell thing. Like, you can't take a moment. Like, what the fuck was
All
that?
they had to do was tell him, okay, wait.
Hey, let's get this straight.
We got everybody. It's a plot. It's a huge plot hole.
I'm rewatching. The second time I rewatched the movie, I'm like, all right, maybe he just didn't give him any time. Nope. They're just Strange. Why don't you just stop? Like, what are you doing? Like,
this is why you're not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore.
Yeah, that's that. It's just there's the little stupid things like that, which to me prevents it from being like a perfect movie, right? There's just some glaring issues with it. But I think what it does probably better than anything when I left the movie the first time was it was a Spider-Man origin movie 3 movies in, which I think is cool. Like that to me is it's an origin movie, but it's delayed. And it was just like he's already been through some. When we meet Spider-Man at Homecoming, we know that he's experienced some stuff. Like at this point, we know he's already been involved in Civil War with Iron Man. We know he knows Tony. We don't know what he's gone through, what his neighborhood crime fighting or what's happened exactly. We don't even know how long he's had his powers, really. Maybe it's in there, but I didn't go that deep. To see, like, all right, it's just kind of, he's a smart kid. He develops these powers. He gets caught on YouTube doing some shit. Tony Stark just realizes it. And then he's catapulted into fucking space fighting Thanos and all kinds of shit. And now it's, no, we're going to get this back grounded into, he's already kind of experienced everything that he needs to experience, be a man, really. And now the Nexus event occurs with Aunt May dying, which is that's universe's version of Uncle Ben. And I'm even got questions of, was there ever an Uncle Ben? Is that not anything that happened?
There wasn't. There could. I think she was single. Like there
which
was.
And that makes me even more of it. Wow, it was a true origin story, and not only an origin story, they kind of soft rebooted by the end of it. Like you can do anything you want to.
A complete deconstruction and a reconstruction in this one movie. Mm-hmm. Like
it's an insane achievement.
Like it was that it's not just a passing of the baton because it was that too. It was just like Spider-Boy became Spider-Man. It's like, no, like everything that happened to Tobey's character and Andrew's character in their origin films. Hey, now we've set you up for that same kind of.
Which I know we're going to talk about the end. What's next for Spider-Man, right? Because trust me, I need a fucking Noah Baumbach marriage story version of Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like I need it today. I just need that. I need their marital issues just on full display and whatever's fucking happening there. But even when you're looking at all those other things that like Andrew Garfield getting another opportunity to play Peter Parker, when we know Garfield of anyone that's played Spider-Man is more in love with the character than any of these guys. He loves the character Spider-Man. It was his dream to play it. They just so happened to pick the wrong guy to direct it. Mark Webb, who I do appreciate, 500 Days of Summer, although on rewatch it's a little problematic. It's okay. It's a really great romantic movie. And I think that's also the thorough line of The Amazing Spider-Man. The best thing about those movies is the love story between Peter and Gwen, which you can see Mark Webb excels at that, nothing else. And then when they snatched it from Andrew at the end, Andrew's kind of left like, man, what the fuck? Then you also see just from a personal standpoint, and I mean, I don't know Andrew Garfield personally, but when you hear that like him and Emma Stone were dating and the way that they broke up resonated and still hurts Andrew till today. And the fact that you can see him kind of go back into the universe a little bit and the pain on his face, him saying that like, after I lost Gwen, I stopped pulling punches. You can see the look on Andrew's face, who I also think stole the movie, if I'm being completely honest.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
We're not going to get to that. We're not going to get to that yet.
Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm not. But
go ahead.
No, I was just saying, the performances are amazing. And even Tobey, who we'll get into ranking the Spider-Man and all that, to see Tobey back in the youth pastor jokes, which is just hilarious off the rip, but even seeing that while he might be completely done with the character, just as a person, as an actor, the fact that he can come back in here and still kind of be like, hey, I'm still the OG motherfuckers. Like
because he's kind of, I won't say done with film, but this was his first film since like 2014. Like his first live action film. He did a voice acting in like 2017.
It's
he
meta.
has a film coming out next year now, but like he taking a hiatus. I think
it's meta as fuck. If you know Tobey Maguire's history in LA over the last decade,
Well, he was an actor.
He's also a giant poker player, does all kinds of shit.
He's an asshole.
He's in the fucking life, or was in the life out there.
If like to bring in another movie, have you guys seen Molly's Game?
I was about to say that's how we know he's an asshole, because player X in Molly's Game.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was about to bring up. All right, cool. So
because him and Leo grew up together basically as actors, and Leo just knows how to hide it a little bit better than Tobey Maguire kind of has done. But even you see the look on Tobey's face, you're like, yeah, I can tell you're 46. You've seen some shit. You've done some shit. Just the old grizzled veteran just coming back to like play the role one more time. It's just they hit on all marks on this movie as far as the characters spending good time with the villains, which is another critique that you can have on a lot of these movies. Is especially DC, I think, is more guilty of it than anything. Too many villains. They did a really good job giving people that needed time a good portion of time. Lizard doesn't need equal time as Doc Ock. We know this, and they do a good job breaking it up. And the fact that Tobey and Andrew both got to shine in their own way without trying to overshadow Tom or to like take Tom's place, and to still let Tom cook, was just it's a cinematic achievement pulling this movie off with the amount of moving parts it had.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on into the rankings of all the different Spider-Man movies. So who wants to go first?
Are we doing what we did with the MCU thing, which is like round table, like everybody go with 9, or do we want to run through the list each?
We can run through the list. We can run through the list each. James, you go first.
Nah.
I think you got to go first.
Yeah, we're gonna let James go first.
Nah.
Why?
Mine's is different.
I know. That's why you should.
I can go first.
Nah, I'm just saying this is the best movie out of all of them, and that was it. Like, I didn't rank any other ones. I just said this is the best movie. Like,
that's fine.
That's how I did it. Like,
okay.
So yeah, that's what I said. Y'all go ahead.
Do you want me to go, or you want to go, Q?
You can go.
I'll start at 9 and go to 1.
Okay.
Number 9, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Too many fucking villains. Dog shit movie, except for the Gwen Stacy storyline. And number 8, Spider-Man 3. Venom is unforgivable, and what they did with the emo Spider-Man walk, another unforgivable moment in Spider-Man movies. Number 7, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 6, Far From Home. Number 5, the original OG Spider-Man 1. Number 4, Spider-Man Homecoming. Number 3, Spider-Man 2. Number 2, No Way Home. Number 1, Into the Spider-Verse.
I'll go from 1 to 9. Into the Spider-Verse. No Way Home. Number 3 for me, Far From Home. Number 4, Homecoming. Number 5, Spider-Man 2. Number 6, the original Spider-Man. Number 7, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 8, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Number 9, fucking Spider-Man 3. You gotta be fucking kidding me. It's fucking terrible. Like there's like, I can't think of a moment in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 that's worthy of like being even discussed. I mean, like at all in like Spider-Man 3. It's like in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, you have Gwen's like that little snap, like, oh, he missed. Oh, he didn't get, like, even after you watch that entire movie, which isn't completely terrible, but it's not that great at all. It's not something you want to rewatch. They have Jamie Foxx and Dane DeHaan. They did good with the casting, but they just can pull it off. But they have the moment where he fails on Gwen and everybody wanted to see it. And it's like, oh, and you just feel it. It's very, because like in the way her neck snaps, it's that
she doesn't land the kickback and it's rough.
It was like, oh, I felt that. I felt nothing from anything in Spider-Man 3. Nothing.
I think the
embarrassment is what I felt.
Amazing Spider-Man 2, I can't forgive how bad Green Goblin is. It's really fucking bad. Yeah, it's really, really, really bad. That entire Harry arc is just terrible shit. It doesn't make sense. Why is he even mad at him? He tried to tell him don't do it. He did it. He got fucked up. If anything, you were right, Peter. Like, no, and I want to kill him. What the fuck does that mean? It's just watching Amazing Spider-Man 2, to the depths at which you have to say, oh, I just got to run with this, even though it doesn't make sense, is not enough for me to even be able to sit down and watch the movie. Spider-Man 2 is like, it makes sense, it's just stupid. It's bad. Like, it's just, all right, I get what you're doing. I just don't agree that you're doing a good job of it. Amazing Spider-Man 2 just doesn't make sense to me. Once again, the only thing that's the thorough line that works in those movies is what Mark Webb does best, which is the romantic line, which I honestly, if we're looking at a pure story between Peter Parker and his love interest, whether it be MJ or Gwen, I'd be I think you can arguably say that the best of any of the movies as far as a love connection is Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
I think
their chemistry was amazing. They had the best chemistry.
They had the best chemistry, and I think you can see it getting better with how
they're significant, and their others on screen were fucking off screen. So like, it doesn't but the chemistry was just better with Andrew and Gwen.
It was. I mean, that's the thing. Watching the original movies, Kirsten Dunst, she's not bringing a lot to the role, and they're not asking her to do much. So I'm not trying to be mean.
Cry a lot.
She does an okay job at that sometimes. And I think the thing with the latest iteration of MJ is that while I think she might be the best MJ we've ever seen, and she might be the best actual, she might be better than Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy as far as just her own individualist. She has her own thoughts. She has her own opinions. It's just a strong woman, not just being like Spider-Man's muse in some sort of way.
But that's how Gwen was. That's how she got killed. And that's why I like Gwen. That's why I like Gwen. She's better.
Yeah, I love Emma Stone. I like Emma Stone's, and as far as female actresses in the last like 30 years, I'd be hard pressed to find somebody that I like more than her. So it's even hard for me to not. Yeah, once again, I started this entire thing. I'm trying to like talk myself into Zendaya because I like Zendaya a lot, and I think Zendaya and Tom. I think that they've gotten the best that they've been as far as chemistry was this last movie. I think that they're building on it, and maybe that's because of what's happening off screen with them as well. But Andrew and Emma from day one, you could just tell their chemistry together was just mesmerizing. It sucks so bad that it was just, because I don't know if you guys remember when the Sony emails leaked, Kevin Feige was giving a lot of notes on the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Because if people don't know, Kevin Feige has been an assistant in the rooms there since X-Men. Back in the 90s, like the X-Men and X2 and even the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. He was like an assistant. He was like a food runner, and he would go grab coffee and stuff. He always had great ideas about it. And what you can tell Kevin Feige had he loved Andrew. And I think everybody loved Andrew because of how much he loved the role. It just didn't work out. And it sucks because at that point, he just aged out. And there's a lot, but I mean, number one, still, if you're going through this list, is Into the Spider-Verse. Because, I mean, the thing that I have I want to say No Way Home is up there, and it is. The only thing is, even with the multiverse and everything, there are not anywhere near as many plot holes or issues in Into the Spider-Verse as there are in No Way Home, which is why I've elevated it still. Is that they've still handled the multiverse better than the Spider-Man movie handled the multiverse. I think the multiversal aspect of things, we're going to really see it come to terms when it comes to the new Doctor Strange movie and what they've been doing with some of the other. Otherwise, it could go off the rails really, really bad. But Into the Spider-Verse is still the best way that they've ever handled the multiverse in any of these movies. As far as understanding a concept that crazy in comic books and translating it to the screen, it's great. Even when you're trying to deal with some of the time travel stuff that like X-Men did with like First Class, and then what was the second one, which they're doing the time traveling shit, and there's like
Future Past.
Days of Future Past. It's good, but it's convoluted. There's no way under first watch of that movie can you like completely understand everything that's happening time-wise with it. I just think it's an impossibility. Like it's like a required rewatch on that. And even with this No Way Home, it's like I'm still learning and trying to piece together some things with it. There's just some issues. I just have too many questions, which knowing Marvel, they'll answer my questions mostly in whatever next property or film they're going to do. But it kind of sucks that I got to kind of do homework or wait for something else to come out so that I can truly know where it is that I'm putting it all.
All right.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
So like you watch anime, right?
Yeah. I'm not like a super guy, but like I watch anime.
All right. Have you ever seen One Piece?
No, that's the one that I'm refusing to watch because it has a ton of episodes and
it's over 1,000. And I'm caught up. So every Sunday I watch, right?
I can't.
Now, I had a conversation with one of my buddies about this because we were talking about the MCU, and we were discussing One Piece at the same time with how they could. So this One Piece has been running for a long ass time, like since we were born, or before that, around that. So like a minute.
The Doctor Who of anime.
So what they do a lot of times is they will talk about a character. Like there's a character from 2010 that was in an episode or in like a mini arc, and then they go away, but then like last month or something, they pop back up, and then they give you like, so it's like that far in advance. Like they have millions of characters. I say the same thing about the MCU sometimes, where it's like, all right, K-Dot, you'll look at something and be like, I don't get this. But then a year, 2 years later, you're watching the movie and it's like, oh, this makes sense now.
I'm not giving them that much credit.
But I've seen that happen. And I'm saying this is like, One Piece is the best at doing that to me, but I feel like Marvel took some of that and they're doing the same.
I'm not giving Marvel as much credit as you're giving One Piece, I think. Because I like, it's not like when you're watching a series like The Wire, where something happens in one scene that doesn't pay off until 3 or 4 episodes later. You better be paying attention to all the pieces. There's sometimes in Marvel where they're just, hey, this doesn't make sense. Maybe we could figure it out the next movie. That's the vibe I get. It's not, hey, we've got this completely thing figured out. Because I don't see a lot of that kind of payoff that you're talking about in One Piece, where it's like the event, it's usually they're trying to find the answer to what it is we have issues with in the following, in whatever comes next. Because they know they can hear Kevin Feige.
Marvel or One Piece, right?
I'm talking about Marvel. Okay. I've never seen One Piece. I'm saying Marvel, you know, they listen to the fans. They got people on the message boards. They know they got people watching YouTube, seeing what it is people are talking about when it comes to these series. I just feel sometimes it's just like, hey, we'll see if it bothers the fans enough that we need to answer this or not. Because there's sometimes they're just like, fuck it. Endgame. The fact that a rat still made the goddamn van and the entire movie take place makes no goddamn sense. We're not going to answer. In Ant-Man versus the Wasp, we're looking at Ant-Man and we're looking at Endgame, right? Ant-Man's in the fucking whatever the micro whatever the quantum realm for 5 years, whatever it is. He doesn't age a day. Michelle Pfeiffer's old as fuck when she gets out of that bitch. It doesn't make any sense. Like there's some things that just don't make sense in Marvel, and they're just
Paul Rudd doesn't age, so that's not fair.
All right, fair, fine. But I'm just saying, well, the explanation is, yeah, weird things happen in the quantum realm. Like they're just like we're not even gonna fuck with it. Like they're just sometimes so like when I see this movie, the biggest issues that I have with it, Doctor Strange, just so happens the next feature length film in the Marvel in the MCU, Doctor Strange movie, which I'm sure is going to. Hey, Peter just was on a good day. Doctor Strange is capable of this, and leave it alone. And it's just gonna be like, okay, but there's a few things that Marvel does like that where it's just like, The more the big thing with them is that you have to do so much homework to understand where the characters are. It's not like they're surprising. It's just, hey, have you watched these series? Here's Daredevil. We're not explaining how Daredevil has anything to do with it, but here's Charlie Cox's fucking Daredevil. I had to make sure. I almost wanted to go rewatch all of Daredevil because King. Can I spoil? I was about to spoil Hawkeye. Sorry. Am I allowed to? Can I talk about anything MCU wise up until here? You seen all Hawkeye?
I'm all caught up.
All right. So like when you have Kingpin show up, and now we're not even sure. Like Vincent D'Onofrio said, this is Kingpin from the series, but then even the vibe is a little different, and it's like even. There's certain things you can see even in No Way Home, and if you guys watch it again, they are doing so much possible to make sure that we're not thinking about the timeline that much. If you look at Aunt May's tombstone, they have flowers covering the date because it's starting to get fucking weird.
Because so they fucked up. They fucked that up when they started with Spider-Man Homecoming, because they said that Spider-Man Homecoming was like 8 years after Avengers, and it was like, huh?
Right.
I did the math. I was that don't make no sense.
Or when you see at the end of this film, it's taking place right around the same time the finale of Hawkeye is happening, or the entire Hawkeye series is happening. The Christmas tree is still up at Rockefeller. It's the same season. But is it But then you're trying to go off the Statue of Liberty aspect of things, and it's like, all right, so are all of them in the same spot when all of this is happening? There's a lot of that shit. It's just like they come up with new characters. It's the same way that like in any movie, the explanation for Captain Marvel is she was off world. A lot of people don't have Avengers.
I hate
Stop
that
asking
part.
about it.
That's the one that pisses me off.
It's just they get messy.
And with Hawkeye, my thing with that is like, I think, and I won't get into a tangent about Hawkeye, which I enjoy because I enjoy the comic that it's based off of. I think they just was like, okay, well, we don't really have a villain. So like, let's bring in the Kingpin. And that because he didn't really need to be in that. They should have teased him and moved on. They should have teased him like, hey, he's here. He is in this universe.
Well, and I mean, is he there anymore?
Because the vibe definitely was different. Like, I understand Charlie Cox, Daredevil, all the Defenders have always been in the MCU technically because they were just on the Netflix stuff that they weren't like completely acknowledging, but they acknowledged that the Avengers had happened and all this stuff. So they were always in the MCU, but Netflix had the rights and now they got the rights back. So I get that. I completely understand that. But like the vibe is definitely different now. And it's like, I did like the Charlie Cox thing. I liked him showing up, but that's just one of those things where it's like, fan service, right? Boom, boom, boom. We'll add it. We'll give you something more on this later. Like,
yeah. Do you think there'll be a Daredevil movie?
That's what I was wondering, and that's one of my questions from this movie. Is that so? Are we going to do because Daredevil is going to be most likely he's going to show up in Echo, because I'm assuming Echo is going to be about Echo versus Kingpin. And then I'm assuming, and because Echo and Daredevil have a history in the comics, I'm assuming they'll obviously come team up or whatever. He's rumored to show up in She-Hulk, which makes sense because She-Hulk is a lawyer, Charlie Cox is a lawyer, Matt Murdock is a lawyer, not Charlie Cox. And so like, but are they just going to give Daredevil another series or a movie? Personally, I love a Daredevil movie, so I'd be cool with that. Like, I love Defenders. I hope they recast all of like Luke Cage and Iron Fist. You can keep Jessica, you can bring her back, but like, give me a different Luke Cage.
See, and I've never watched those. So like, I stopped watching Daredevil on Netflix after season 1. I enjoyed what I was watching, but I didn't finish it. I just didn't finish it, and now like that's become homework for me. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, do I even need to do this homework to understand what's going to happen going forward?
To do it, but I need you to watch.
Yeah, that's fair. But it's just there's certain aspects of Marvel right now where, look, we've been warning that like to think about the amount of characters that they are introducing, most for the first time. It's daunting. If you like, when you both have seen Eternals now, right?
No,
yeah, I have.
I didn't even know about Echo.
All right, can I speak on Eternals?
Don't spoil it for James.
All right. Well, no. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just saying in Eternals, you have the characters that are now being introduced with the stinger and the after credits, which we know are happening. But it's like, how the fuck do they want everyone to fit? Is it supposed to be all of these need to be intertwined? Can anything stay separate in its own thing? What things need to overlap? Like I think that this is where we're getting to, is that we don't know where the rules are. It's just, they feel like they're flying by the seat of their pants, and we understand you have to trust in Kevin Feige. And Kevin Feige, we trust that he's got it all figured out. There's a master plan for it. But it just feels as though with the contracts happening with some of these movie studios and what's happening with Sony, even though I think they just signed the deal with Sony that everything's good from what I understand now going forward, but it's just a lot of shit. And there's one thing for like Easter eggs to pay off for me, but I am starting to get a little annoyed at how much homework it is before each project comes out. And it's just a lot. It's a lot.
I think they definitely are like at a point where it's like, I won't say it's too much because I love all this, and I'm legitimately like waiting for Fantastic Four and X-Men. Like, I cannot wait for Fantastic Four and X-Men, but I do wonder where they're going to start to like split off with some of this stuff. Like you're saying, like what can kind of stand alone and what can't, because that's what I thought and hoped they would do with Blade. We don't necessarily need to see Blade interact with any of the other like MCU people. He fucking deals with vampires. Like I get that there are crossovers sometimes and everything, and that's cool. And he's superhuman, so he can compete with aliens and shit like that. I get that. But they also said that they wanted that movie to be rated R. And I'm like, and a Disney movie?
Because that's the other thing with Kingpin, right? Like I've seen the Kingpin Punisher jail fight. I've seen the Kingpin. Like I haven't watched all of Daredevil. I haven't watched all of these series. But
Punisher.
You can't have Punisher running around with fucking Groot. It doesn't work. What? Like no. Or Hawkeye. You can't watch Hawkeye and see Haley Steinfeld and be like, yeah, you know what? She's gonna get into a shank fight with Kingpin. Like, just no. What
were you gonna say, James?
Nope.
No, say it. What were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
It was stupid. Nope.
No, I won't laugh.
There are no stupid questions.
Oh,
no, there are stupid questions. There are stupid questions.
All right. So Blade, does he have a relationship with Morbius?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a whole other fucking thing.
Yes.
The where it is of the Sony movies are now fitting into the universe. We've all seen the after credits thing. Now we know that they've left a little bit of Venom symbiote, and we'll talk into what's coming up next. It's getting fucking. It's a lot. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
I'm sorry. But
before we get to the next,
like, I want them to use the One Piece formula. I keep bringing it up because One Piece has a shit ton of characters, and then they just bring them in whenever it's needed, and you have no clue. Like you can't even guess anything anymore with One Piece. It's like you think you know what's gonna happen.
They're not quite there, and I don't think that.
I know, but they're like adding shit in, and it's like, who the fuck is Echo? I don't know who that is.
And you watch Hawkeye?
Yeah, you watch Hawkeye. You know who Echo is.
She's the deaf woman.
Oh,
she's getting her own show.
Oh,
yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah,
but even Hawkeye's
vibe. She got powers, right?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
Best thing about Hawkeye is best thing about Black Widow. Yelena is a fucking beast. Florence Pugh is a goddess, and she's the best thing in the MCU right now.
I love her. I think Echo is more of an inclusivity type of thing. I don't necessarily need an Echo show. They should have just gave me Daredevil. But I think similar to like some of the other characters that have come out, like it's like let's be inclusive. Let's have a deaf character, like starting their own show, which is fine because I like Echo. And I'll watch it since it'll just be a show. Like, give me 40 minutes of Echo, like once a week. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like, it'd be more Marvel, the better.
Yeah.
I like it.
So going back to the list, me and Keem, we both have Into the Spider-Verse #1. I know James, you have No Way Home #1.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3, I just wanted to touch on real quick because I think it'd be disrespectful not to talk about these series outside of Spider-Man 3. Sam Raimi's original 3 Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 is an incredible film. The only reason I was going back and forth, honestly, about whether or not to put No Way Home or Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 and No Way Home are battling to me right now. And I think
you haven't watched it recently then.
I watched it. I watched it last week. The reason that it's not, and the reason I have the list the way it is, it doesn't hold up anywhere near as much. And there is a lot of just cornball bullshit in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies.
Yes.
And it's hard to get through sometimes where it's like, did you really have to say the line like that? Did they have to do the zoom and the pop zoom like that?
Yes. That's a lot. I dropped it. I used to hold Spider-Man 2 in high regard. I still do. One of those guys, I was like, Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man film ever until I saw Into the Spider-Verse. And then like I rewatched Spider-Man 2 a few months ago. I was like, this is spoiled milk, baby.
But the thing was with the tone of all the movies, you could see the original Spider-Man movies was like, and we'll get into it when we're ranking the Spider-Men themselves, I guess. But there's a tone in the original Spider-Man that is very kiddie. It's very childlike. And it's very much you're supposed to be 7, 8, 9 years old going to this movie. I mean, I know I went opening week. I was 12, 13. And I had a blast to watch the first one and going to the theater to go see all of them. But it's very much like we were kids. And this was okay. And it didn't feel corny because the way movies were kind of made back then. Amazing Spider-Man, it's like new, fresh remake. When I'm watching Amazing Spider-Man, even the way they do like the title cards, now I'm like, oh, that's cheesy as fuck. Like, it's dated, right? And now we're watching these new Marvel movies. And the thing is that from a tonality standpoint, the Marvel movies have been with us since 2008. And it's just, I think it makes it a lot easier to digest because from a tone perspective, it's not that much different than the other things we've been watching. So I think that hurts the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. But what I do appreciate that No Way Home did, I don't think anybody was expecting a Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Trailer at the end.
No, I wasn't.
But what I realized it was a tribute to the director of that movie, which is Sam Raimi. And arguably, he's the best director to ever do any of these movies. It's Sam fucking Raimi, all right? The same guy that gave us fucking the Evil Dead series and Army of fucking Darkness and fucking he's up here, all right? It's fucking Sam Raimi. And it's like you watch those movies and it's like, dude, this is fucking corny, which is why I love when you go back to No Way Home, when Green Goblin shatters his mask. It's such a pivotal moment to me because it's basically acknowledging like, hey, we all know we hate this shit. It's just corny. We're off this. It's just over. Don't worry about it.
Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Although I will admit, Kylo Ren's mask was incredible. I'm sorry. It's fucking
I liked
really
it,
good.
but Ryan Johnson said no.
Well, it's Ryan because you have one Adam Driver, one of the biggest actors in the world. And you're like, yeah, we're not going to show his face. Like it's not even like it was a James Earl Jones thing, which is like we know he's not really under the mask. It's just it was just like you have Adam Driver. We could tell it's his voice even with the modulator. You're not going to show his face.
I liked him more when he had the mask on.
Which is why Mandalorian is incredible that they're keeping the fucking mask on for the most part and not taking Pedro Pascal, who's an incredible actor on his own. They're just letting him rock with the mask on, which you gotta respect it. It's a ballsy move, right?
Especially because people like how Pedro Pascal looks as well. Like he's not facially challenged at all. He's a
beautiful motherfucker.
And people want to see his fucking face, but they're like, we're sticking to this like it's fucking Judge Dredd.
Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, great looking men. You need to see their faces anywhere.
Moon Knight.
Oh. Yeah, I can't believe he's coming in the MCU.
I want to add something.
Yeah.
So, in anticipation for today, right? I've been really busy with a lot of personal and work stuff, but I did watch the first Spider-Man.
Okay.
I was trying to get it through as much as I could, but I can only watch the first. I have notes.
Okay.
What were your notes?
All right. So I said this before and I'll say it again. I gave Tobey Maguire credit for being the first, like in the part that we're discussing right now, the first like live action Spider-Man that we're looking at here. Right. Because like everybody else can take what you've done and add their own shit to it and quote unquote make it better. Second, I hated how Peter Parker was sneaking his mans or like sneak dissing his mans the whole fucking movie. It's like, come on, Dirty Mackin like was heavy. It was disrespectful.
He was Dirty Mackin.
Like legit, fam. It was like, fam, what are you doing? All right. I also got to give him credit for putting Randy Savage and Macy Gray in this movie. I was like, oh, Randy. And then
I'm waiting for that trivia question at some fucking point. Is really? Who performed at the goddamn Oscar? I'm
Macy
so
Gray.
Right. What's the name? It was Nutmeg. I forget the name of the song. I'm a Macy Gray fan.
Green Goblin looked like Ivan Ooze from Power Rangers. Like
shit.
When I saw him, I thought about like Ivan Ooze. And then the upside down scene kiss was legendary.
Hey, that's what I will say about Tobey. Before we get, I know we're gonna get into this later, but I will say Tobey had the best kisses. Tobey was bodying upside down kisses for real.
No, the upside down kiss on the right.
Like, have y'all tried it?
Me and my
I have not.
I have.
Yeah, I've done the same.
But
so like
I didn't know this way. I got King, when you do it, just remember, like, don't be freaked out. Like when somebody's upside down, they do look like an alien. This shit's funny.
I usually I kept my eyes closed. But it was always like
you guys.
We would do the upside down kiss. I mean, one was dangling, it'd be more like on a bed or something, and we just it was a bit. It was me and my ex-wife. We did a bit, and we just say Spider-Man, and it would just be like, just take the. It was just stupid shit. It was so stupid.
I respect that.
The question I had as far as the list that my buddy who's the biggest MCU nerd that I know, Spencer, he agreed with Keem's list in this sense. What makes you put Far From Home over Homecoming?
So, Far From Home, I'm a big Mysterio guy. I'll start with that. Like,
okay.
I thoroughly enjoy Mysterio.
And I love Jake.
But I feel like they're very close, like as far as like films and in a tier ranking. They're very close. It's like, okay, I like this more than I like this. It comes down to a preference thing. The scene where he realizes he's being played, where he like the Mysterio like effects, that put it over Homecoming for me. It was that part, and it was also you have to also like it came after Endgame, and he did the Thor, the Captain America, he had the shield, he got this. Far From Home was about him being the new pillar of the MCU. It was. Yeah. Like they played homage to Thor, Iron Man, and Cap, and they showed how Peter embodied all of them. And like that one scene where he's getting fucking ass whooped by those drones, he makes that shield out of like whatever, and then he does the little Thor like wind up. And obviously, you know, the Tony Stark comparison is always there because of the tech, and he's smart and all those things, and how he figures it out. So that put it over Homecoming for me. Though I will say, Michael Keaton did better than Jake did. Michael Keaton did better than Jake did, but Jake didn't do bad or anything. I thought Jake was good.
It's just Michael Keaton.
Yeah, it's Michael Keaton. Like that's Vulture and Batman.
Yeah.
So
I think the reason for me is like I'm very adamant that I think Homecoming is better than Far From Home. I get what you're saying as far from a personal preference thing, but I think it goes back to certain plot things happen that I can't get over. I'm wearing my Ediths, my expensive ass Edith glasses. I'm wearing them right now. Why the fuck would Tony leave all that goddamn tech to Peter? It made no goddamn sense. You're not even going to tell Happy, like, hey, when he's ready, give him access to this. What about fucking Pepper? You're not going to tell Pepper? Like, what the fuck are you thinking? It's not Tony's thought. Tony wouldn't do that. It just makes no sense. It makes no sense at all to me.
I think that's why Tony did it.
Fuck off.
I think he would leave something for Peter. I think
he'd leave something for Peter, like the device that creates shit, makes shit. Yeah, give him one of those. You don't give him like a full blown. This is like the tech from Dark Knight plus the goddamn drone tech. What the fuck are you doing? It's just out. Unless Tony just was like, hey, fuck it, and he wouldn't do that because you're talking about Tony's entire thing being that he from when we see Iron Man 1 to when he realizes that he's got to keep a hold over the weapons and that Stark Tech has to be this, that, and the other. We got to make sure that we protect the arc reactor. Hey, I'm gonna give it to a teenager. Oh. Then the other part of it that I know a lot of other people have issues with, that I actually think it's the reason I like Far From Home is the decision, which some people say is a plot hole, of Peter trusting Mysterio so fast to give him the Edith technology. I think that speaks to who Peter Parker is as a young teenager and someone who now looking back doesn't have an Uncle Ben and has an Aunt May who always wants to see the best in people, that he would make some dumbass decision like that because somebody that. So like that makes sense to me. But the reason that's the only time in that movie that I'm really getting that essence of Peter Parker being Peter Parker, which is why I love Homecoming so much, because it's Tom Holland being teenager Peter Parker. Like the whole prom shit and Michael Keaton's character, like the car ride. There's so many of those moments that I'm just like, I want to see Peter be Peter. I want to see Spidey. I want to see the teenager making the dumb decisions, or the one who's worried about the superficial bullshit that's happening in like high school. Like that to me is what makes Homecoming so special to me. Is it? And then number one, it was like we had already seen him before, and here's his first movie. And I just thought that it was kind of cool that it wasn't an origin story. It was just like the first time we saw him, and I thought they nailed it. And I still think the villain in that and his entire arc is great. The reason that Michael what's his villain name? Vulture. Vulture's entire storyline just makes sense. It makes so much sense. Like what he's doing, the things that he's doing, I don't question it at all. But Mysterio is here's Sam Rockwell from fucking Iron Man 2, and here's goddamn Guy Pearce from Iron Man 3. Like, it's just what? It's the same fucking thing. Like, I don't. There's a part of me that's just like, yeah, the Miles Morales thing, which that also kind of pissed me off. It was like this Easter egg, but not quite. And I just make Donald fucking Miles Morales. Just fucking, you should have did it back then when you had the opportunity to.
It's like, hey, you come get this.
It's just,
don't leave me stuck here.
It's just, I think Far From Home just has so many issues with it to me that it's like, and even some of the stuff that's even the most exciting in that movie, which still hasn't been completely felled out, like Nick Fury being off world, and we still need to see what's happening with Secret Invasion and all this other kind of shit's coming out of.
I will say, so I was going to mention that, and that's one of those things where I think James's point, like earlier, rings true, where like they're set up things, because they've been setting up Secret Invasion for a while now, since Far From Home came out. Like, and we've had a scroll.
Say Marvel, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. But they didn't really set up Secret Invasion, and they were off world.
Oh, yeah, they were just showing what scrolls could do. Yeah,
yeah. And so, like, but Far From Home, like, since Far From Home, there's been a scroll in almost literally every Marvel project except for like Hawkeye, Eternals, I think, and that's it. Like, there was even a scroll in fucking, I believe maybe Falcon and Winter Soldier didn't have one. I can't remember, but like every other project had one.
That's
Show
fair.
Up in WandaVision.
Secret Invasion looks corny as shit. I'm sorry. I'm hoping it. Same way I thought Hawkeye looked corny as shit. It was like a fucking CW show. I'm really hoping it's better. They really need to work on the art. I understand their comic movies, like She-Hulk's just logo looks like absolute dog shit. It looks like some fucking 12-year-old in Canva just came up with it. Like, I'm really annoyed by it.
I'm looking it up now.
I just think it's just, I know they're probably going to be better properties when they were, but
it's basically it's like,
you see what I'm saying?
From Disney Channel.
Wait, I see a bunch of shit now. I was like, wait, which one is it?
They're not great.
They all look bad. Okay.
They're not great.
All right.
Moon Knight, though.
All right. So
if Oscar Isaac's in something, sign me up. This is how it works for me.
What'd you say, James?
You want to do the updated MCU ranking? Mine's is fairly simple.
Should we rate Peter Parker's or save that for after the ranking the MCU?
I thought that was gonna be last.
No, we'll rank MCU, then rank Peter Parker's, and then what's next for Spider-Man.
Right.
Got it. I will say this before we rank the MCU movies. I saw Shang-Chi since the last time we did the MCU thing, which I know was in your top 10, Keem, and it almost cracked your top 10, James.
Yep.
Okay, so I've updated my entire MCU thing, now seeing Shang-Chi and seeing No Way Home, but I just want to say that.
Okay, so I won't go through all of my rankings again, like completely. And this is where I say I have to watch Spider-Man again. I watched Shang-Chi twice, 2 or 3 times now. But Spider-Man definitely push it outside of the top 10. I can say that for sure. Spider-Man No Way Home, for me, I need to look at it and see if I like it more than Black Panther or not.
I do. Well, like, looking at like, all right, ranking it against Black Panther, it's a better like plot to me. The importance of Black Panther is way more than the Spider-Man movie, in my opinion, just because, but other than that, like, the movie was better than Black Panther.
Yeah, I gotta watch it again just to make sure it holds up. But like, I think Black Panther is like 6 for me. I know for me, it's not better than Infinity War for sure. So far, I wouldn't put it better than Civil War. I wouldn't put it better than Winter Soldier for me.
What movie are you talking about?
No Way Home. And so it's like, it's in that top 8 somewhere. My top 8, probably top 7, 6, maybe 5. I just have to look at it and think about, like, again, I need to see it again. But off of first watch, it's probably like, I think it's my 7th favorite MCU film.
I had it a lot higher.
I know you did. Where you at?
I had it at 4, just because of like.
That's fair.
Just because of the different, like, number one, when they brought in all the other Spider-Men, right? And they had Andrew come in first. Like, you open the portal and you're like, oh shit, it's about to happen. And then he's like, all right, which one is it? And then you see
I thought
Andrew.
that was Tobey, by the way.
No,
I knew it was Andrew.
I'm so glad they had Tobey come last, because it's like the grand entrance should have been him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like how they did that. I like how they weren't super cheesy with the like putting the meme in the movie. That wasn't cheesy at all. Yeah, I mean, just seeing like Daredevil in the beginning, like shit like that was just fucking awesome. Like I'm sitting there like excited, and I went to see it at 10 o'clock at night, and it's like fucking 1 a.m. when the shit finishes, and I'm like, oh, I can still like, I want to watch it again right now. And like I'm old as fuck, so usually I'm in bed by 12, and like I'm awake, and I'm like, yeah, let's watch it again. So for me, like I had it at top 5. Like I put it at 4, and it has potential to go up as time goes on.
So I can't remember this where you had your rankings, James, but do you like it more than you like Endgame?
No.
Go. What about you, Kadeem?
It's around 6 or 7 of my top 10. Shang-Chi did not crack the top 10. I did enjoy it. Rewatchability, not that high for me on Shang-Chi. It's one of those ones that kind of exists. I appreciate it for what it is, but I'm not in a big mood to watch it at any given point in time. And I have some issues with Shang-Chi. One of the glaring issues I have with Shang-Chi is another problem that I have with that I just remembered hearing James talk with No Way Home, which is Awkwafina's character just knowing how to shoot the bow, same way Ned just kind of knowing how to fucking open portals, just bothers me a little bit. That's the thing. On repeated watching,
Awkwafina itself,
I do too to a certain degree, but there's I think that what I'd be really surprised by is that you guys have both seen the movie once. It went down for me on rewatch while it was more enjoyable the second or third time around because I'm like really soaking in a lot. It didn't necessarily make it a higher ranked movie for me because the plot holes and certain things or aspects that bothered me, I think reigned more true the more you watch it. It's like certain things you just can't gloss over because maybe you're too emotional the first time around or with the Easter eggs and everything else, you're just kind of soaking it all in. But when you're watching it the second or third time where you can like sit with it and be like, oh, well, I know what's coming, so I can really pay attention to this. I don't like that. But hey, I'm still having fun. It's a great movie. I don't want anybody to think that I'm thinking it's shit. Right now, the way I have it is I really got interchangeable with Doctor Strange. And it's funny that I say that because I think what's probably seeping into me is how much I don't like what they kind of did to Doctor Strange in certain portions of this movie, knowing how powerful he is, even if he doesn't have the time stone. He's not that dumb to just stop. He could have stopped the spell. So it's right around there. I still have Iron Man, Avengers, Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Guardians of the Galaxy above it. I think it might even change as time goes on, or what has happened with some of the Marvel movies, which is the closest I was going to give James credit as far as what he was saying with when you were talking about the anime. Mm-hmm. A lot of times now with Marvel, when you see what does is the follow-up with a character or what they do with the show, can kind of change the way I feel about a property that happened a long time ago. So it's the same way that I don't know. As when we did the MCU top 10, I remember Keem at that point, you had not seen What If. Are you completely caught up on What If?
No, I'm 2 episodes in.
Okay, so that to me is, I stand firm with this the same way that I said it last time. Doctor Strange was not this high on the list for me until I've now watched What If. And now after watching What If, and now after watching this movie, and now after seeing the fucking trailer for the new one, I like Doctor Strange even more. So it's like, there's certain aspects of this, like they're doing certain things with the character where now I have to go back and watch the movie over to try to fill in some things. And I find myself liking certain aspects a little bit more. Tilda Swinton is so fucking good in Doctor Strange. And Chaweli, whatever, can't fucking pronounce the name, 12 Years a Slave. He's fucking great. And even seeing him in the teaser for the new movie with the dreadlocks, I don't know about the dreadlock look. I know a lot of white people are
Tyler Perry level bad.
A lot of white people are really excited about the dreadlocks, and I'm like, it's not.
When they're excited, I'm like,
I know that's what I'm kind of like. I was watching New Rockstars, and somebody was doing something. They're like, oh, and Mortar, he's got an awesome new hairstyle. I'm like, that's the least favorite thing in this goddamn trailer. Yeah.
And when they describe it like that, that's tough.
Yeah, it's not cool.
But Strange is awesome.
No Way Home is absolutely a top 10. The achievement of it, the way it made me feel about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, film series that have been in my life forever, which is another thing, is that as much as the moment aspect of it, which has even got me rethinking a little bit more, and one of the reasons I have it above Endgame in my listing, Endgame has these payoff to moments that are cool because we've been so integral with these characters since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
I've been rocking with Spider-Man since 99. What was 2001, 2002?
2001.
2001. It's seeing Tobey Maguire back does something to me from a childhood standpoint. Is like, whoa. Seeing Tobey, when he talks about, when they ask him how is him and MJ doing, and he's like, we're making it work. We found a way to make it work. You teleport to the movies and what it meant to you as a kid, and seeing the relationship between him and MJ. And there's just like this moment of like, wow, he's really lived a life since I've last seen him. The same way I've lived a life since those movies have come out, right? Like, to think about where I was then compared to now, like, it's a lifetime. Andrew Garfield, those movies are a long time ago. It doesn't feel like that sometimes when you look at a calendar, but it's a while back. And to think that character spent all that time without Gwen, and he's still not over it. And to see the look on his face and everything afterwards, it's the aha moments that I got in Endgame, which were just like tear-jerking and everything. I felt like, because I've loved Spider-Man so much over the years, felt like just as much, if not more, than some of the payoffs I was getting at Endgame, which is what elevates that movie to. I don't think I've ever felt more emotional watching an MCU movie ever. And I think it's because of how much I've been with these characters for so long.
It was Black Panther for me, but I understand.
Infinity War for me, and Endgame was the most emotional. Endgame is definitely the most emotional for me, because that's a cataclysm of like 22 other movies. Yep. Now, like, I get like the time what you're talking about, but we're talking about 20.
No, and that's a lot of movies.
Films coming together.
A lot of movies.
It was really, to me, it was a finality to that story. Like, I know it's like phase 2, phase 3. I know we're going to continue it on, but like, that was a finality to like that story. So that was probably the most emotional for me. But this is definitely second. So I feel that too.
The only thing I'll push back a little bit with the finality aspect of things is that because of the age in which we live in now, which everybody's contracts and this, that, and the other, all like public knowledge at this point, right? Because of leaks or this, that, and the other. I know we're going to get into it a little later. But anytime I'm watching the MCU, when I see how bad Doolittle did in the box office, I always feel like the door's still open. So like, I never really feel like the door's closed for any of these guys. Chris Evans, like, you hear rumors all the time, like he'll come back for a film or something was going to happen. To know that like the Tobey Maguire, the Spider-Man 3 was what year?
Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3 was 06, I feel like. 06 or
it 06. Was done. 15 years out of my head. I had my time with the movie. I never really thought I'd ever see it again.
April 20, 2007.
It was over. I was in fucking high school. It was over. And to think, like, I went back and I'm thinking about it, like, holy shit, I was in fucking high school. I didn't think we'd get any more of this. And now he's back. And it's not just the cameo. I get to understand what's happening in his life right now. I get what you're saying as far as the films, but the time does mean something to me because of how final it felt. When Andrew Garfield lost Amazing Spider-Man at the end, because, look, Disney got it back. They had the deal. It's what it was. Garfield, you're too old now. It felt final. It feels really final. It felt like, well, fuck, he's just too old to be Peter Parker now. And it's over. And as much as I want to see Andrew play this guy again, I'm not going to see it again. I'm probably not going to see it again. Or if I do, it'll be some shitty.
They're petitioning for it.
Mm-hmm.
So that I once again, I got so much to say about that. All right, I'm gonna stop.
Right. I mean, that's the next topic.
No. So you want?
Are we ranking the Spider-Man or what's next?
Yes. Spider-Man.
Yeah, you
Spider-Man first. Then what's next? So, do you guys want me to go?
I'll go first this time.
Okay.
I want to rank my Spider-Man.
Are we ranking Spider-Man or Peter Parker separate?
I'm not.
No.
Okay.
And so I just want to talk about like what kind of went into my rankings. What I'm talking about is literally performance, not like how good was your movie or whatever. Like,
we see where he's going with this.
Performance, character fit, like likability, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, Andrew Garfield is number one. He was always number one for me. I love him as Spider-Man. If you watch those old, like those shitty Spider-Man movies, that he was in, they weren't shitty. They were just like subpar. Like if you watch those, like he acts like how the Spider-Man I grew up watching in the 90s cartoon acted, like talking shit, and the way he talks shit to like villains and shit. Like it was great. Like, like he was Peter. He was scientific, smart, him with the web shooters, because like they like the thing. Okay, I want to get to like the thing when they talked about. I'm so glad they brought up the fact that Tobey shit just came out of his body.
Yeah. Wait, how do you do that?
Andrew's face on rewatch. Andrew's face during that entire scene. He never stops looking at it. It's hilarious. He never breaks. Like he's just. It's so
does
great.
It come out of like where do you make it?
Does it come out of anywhere else?
I think Andrew is the best actor of the three, and that's just my opinion. You could argue me, Tobey, or Tom. They're good actors too. They're good actors too in their own rights. Don't get it twisted. I completely understand that, but I also just watched The Social Network, and you know what's cool? $1 billion. That's what's fucking cool.
The movie of the century. If anybody has a different opinion, you're fucking wrong. Social Network is the best goddamn movie in the 2010s. Period. It's the best.
But I just think Andrew's my guy. So for me, he's number one. Number two is Tom. Number three is Tobey. One thing I want to raise about Tom that I don't think gets talked about enough, which is not necessarily, it's not fair to him, but he gets carried. He's gotten carried in all of his films. And I don't mean by like like somebody just outacts him completely, though Andrew did in this film. Like I mean, they put him in position to like not have to carry a movie solo with just him and some other no-name actors or anything like that. Like, hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you one of the better villains of the MCU in Vulture. You'll get Michael Keaton playing this character. We'll also throw Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in there with you to help you for that first film. Second film, got you a little bit more help. Got Jake Gyllenhaal. We're gonna give you Samuel L. Jackson as well to replace Iron Man. This third film, we're gonna give you the other two Spider-Man. And we're gonna give you Jamie Foxx and Willem Dafoe, and like he's gotten a lot of help. Got a lot of help as far as like.
And he's about to play in Uncharted.
Hey, I can't wait to see Uncharted. I never played that game. In which they gave Marky Mark in that.
Yeah.
And like even in the movie that came out on Netflix that was good, they gave him was it Sebastian Stan was in that? I can't remember. But it's like it takes place over like 3 different time periods. But he's been in a lot of ensemble movies and not as the main, and kind of seemingly billed as the main star, but not as the actor with the most cachet.
And he had Zendaya. Just gonna add that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's my only point with Tom. Tobey's third, just because I don't know. I just felt like Tobey's was like kind of what Kate I was talking about earlier. It's like his was more like kid-like, childlike, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine, but he doesn't stack up.
All right. Kate, I feel like you're gonna be a little bit long-winded, so let me go ahead and go. All right. So first, Andrew Garfield, of course. I felt like he was the actual Spider-Man that we would, imagine him to be. If it was live action, it would be Andrew. Second and third, it's a tie for me. I have Tom and Tobey. But here's why.
How the fuck you top out on a top 3 list? I'm sorry.
Just relax. All right, fine. You know what? Fine. Fuck it. Tobey second, Tom's third. All right, bitch. All right, look.
Okay.
Tobey second.
Take a stand. Take a stand. I like it.
All right. So Tobey's more like the prep kid. Like he just gave me like a prep kid vibe in the movie. Like, do you remember First Kid?
Yes, I love that movie.
Do you remember the
I love that.
Do you remember the little prep kid that was beating up the main character all the time?
Nigga dropped
I
the
feel
first
like
kid reference. I give you $1. I'm gonna give you $1 for that.
appreciate it. But yeah, like I felt like if that kid grew up, he would look like Tobey in these movies. Like he kind of pissed me off. Like he had the punchable face. Like I just watched it.
True. That is so true. Well, Toby's an asshole. That's fine.
Yeah, I know, but like looking at him in movies, like he's like, oh, I forgot what that was my problem. Oh, bitch. Like that fucker killed Uncle Ben, like fucker. Like, yeah. So like he pissed me off. And then Tom is just fucking whiny. He has a whiny voice. Like, oh, Aunt May, what are we gonna do? All the fucking time. He just whines the whole. He's not like fucking grow up. I've seen you for years. Like, grow up. When the fuck do you hit puberty? Like, come on, bro.
Fucking
like,
grow up.
Yeah. So that's my issues with them. All right, K-Dot, you go. I said my piece.
See, this is why I wanted you to fucking take a stand. That was good. That was fucking good content right there. I'm going back and forth in my head as we're doing this. It's really fucking hard. I think it's harder than it needs. I'm going to go Andrew number 1. And the only reason I'm going Andrew number 1 is that I think I wanted to say Tom number 1. And I think that in this movie is when Tom elevated himself to being the guy, in my opinion. And I think that you can see it in Andrew and Tobey that they're like, he's an amalgamation of all of them. And he wouldn't be where he is unless these guys played the role before.
So he's LaMelo Ball, basically.
Ha 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 ha.
Really.
Yeah, kind of. The aspect of you put together the game, right?
Who's so D'Angelo?
Like, I'm not going there. The aspect of, to me, the emotional range that he had to carry through this movie is incredible to me. Holland does his thing. I think Garfield comes in and steals the movie because of how unexpected it is. But Holland's doing some heavy fucking lifting in this movie. And I think it's getting overshadowed because of the joy that we had watching Andrew and Tobey in the film. But Tom is doing some great fucking acting in this movie that I think is getting overlooked a little bit. The only reason I don't have Tom number 1, and this is kind of akin to what it is you're saying, James, sort of. I think, and what I've alluded to prior, I do think that this is a Spider-Man origin movie. This movie is an origin movie. What Tom does going forward, to me, is the mark of what Spider-Man is going to be. I don't think he's been Spider-Man. I think he's been Spider-Boy the last 3 movies. He hasn't had the emotional resonance of things happening to him on the level at which he does now. One would think it might have been the Tony Stark's death in Endgame, but it didn't hit him. It's not going to hit the same way as your Uncle Ben or your fucking Aunt May. It just doesn't. The way that you're going to operate, like Tony's a great dude or everything, the motherfucker was still a stranger that just gave me a bunch of $1 million worth of equipment. Something might have not been right with Tony, but there's like, I think going forward is why I'm so excited to watch Tom going forward, is that I think now he gets to really flex with the emotional baggage that Peter Parker's supposed to have. When you have a Garfield or you have a Tobey, in the first movie, they set the stage for what it is that he's supposed to be emotionally. We've never done that with Tom yet. So I just don't think he's even been Spider-Man yet until now. I think he became in this movie, and I love what I saw in the brief glimpses that I did. Because the scene at the end of the movie with him and MJ and Ned, to me is kind of, fuck it. I'm going to say Tom number 1. And the reason I'm going to say Tom number 1 is because of the last scene in the movie. You get the Peter Parker that you kind of know. The one when he's nervous, he says too much. The one who trips over his words just a little bit. You can see him working around in his head, things are going on, which is why I have Tobey number 3. Tobey was too quiet. Spider-Man's got nervous energy. He's got nervous teen energy. Tobey was just too mild-mannered and meek most of the time. And even when he's doing the witty Spider-Man fighting shit, because it's such a childlike movie, it never comes across as really funny or anything. He's doing these really bad one-liners that just don't hit properly at all. Which is why when you have Garfield as more of an adult Spider-Man, like in Amazing Spider-Man, with Garfield's fighting and he's dropping these lines, even Amazing Spider-Man 2, when he's fighting Electro in the streets in New York, like at Times Square, and he's dropping gems. It's fucking funny. Like there are moments where it's like, dude, this is just great. I think Garfield, if those movies were better, would easily be number one. I agree with you, Keem. He is the best actor of any of the Spider-Man. I don't even think it's close. I don't think it's close. Garfield is an incredible actor. If you didn't note it in fucking Social Network, he confirmed it in Hacksaw Ridge. He's a fucking monster of an actor. He's great. And the gravity he brought to No Way Home was just perfect. The look on his face when he saves MJ, which is bringing tears to my eyes right the fuck now. The look he gives when he just looks at her, that's acting on a fucking level of which I know Andrew's thinking about Emma Stone, not fucking Gwen Stacy. He's thinking about Emma fucking Stone. That to me was like, dude, you fucking got this. You made me feel something, man. Like you just, but I think that Tom hasn't been able to do it. But the last scene in I'm like projecting that Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man. I think that's what we're doing. I'm projecting.
You can't do it. You gotta do based on what
and if we're based on what we're saying, like Garfield's number one. But I'm telling you, those movies, I know, but those movies are really, really rough. And outside of the family dynamic thing, the Uncle Ben stuff, as far as Andrew being really hurt, while his emotions and expressions, everything, it never really hit me with the emotional weight. Not to mention Sally Field, you could kind of tell didn't want to be fucking Aunt May the entire time she was playing Aunt May. And just their entire dynamics were just kind of weird. Like Andrew's doing his thing, but if your pieces around you aren't all working with you, it could take away from your performance a bit. And I think that's what it was. Like if he just had everybody was just playing ball and it was a better script, Andrew could act any of these guys off a fucking screen. He just has the ability to do so. And I think you're right. Tom Holland's had a lot of help. But right now in this movie, we saw the coronation of Spider-Man outside of Spider-Boy. And I'm telling you, man, I just think it's setting up to he's got the perfect tools. His wit and his banter, his jokes, they fucking land. I've seen Endgame 10 times. Infinity War 10 fucking times. When he's cracking the goddamn jokes on the spaceship, I laugh every fucking time. I just do. They're fucking funny. And what he's doing with the nervous energy with Ned and with MJ, even in this movie when he has the iPhone strapped to his chest and he's fucking out there, Tom is hitting on all cylinders. I just think that right now we're seeing him become the true thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
He ain't there yet.
I think he's there. He just hasn't been. He hasn't been. They haven't.
Well, he was the next one, but
if there is a next one,
yeah.
So,
and have you been hearing like I guess we're moving on into it. Like what's next for Spider-Man? But have you guys been like watching some of the interviews that he's done, where he's saying like, yeah, I don't know how long I want to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, he said he doesn't see himself like playing Spider-Man like into his 30s, and he's like 25 right now. So it's like, I mean, which is fine, which I understandable, cool, but I mean, people say stuff all the time, and like, things change. Like, I think, he's kind of tired from this press run. He's had to do this press run. He's like kind of filmed Spider-Man back to back with Uncharted. I think he's like probably a little drained, which he's talked about, and he's spoken about in a separate interview. Just like he's a little mentally tired. So that could change. But I do think he was like, maybe we should have Miles, which I agree with though. Mm-hmm. I do think it's time for a Miles, a live action Miles Morales movie. And so, but yeah, like Tom is great. If they do give us another trilogy, here's what I would like to see happen. Spider-Man 4, because I don't know, Kadeen, James, if you guys have kind of realized this, but they've got to put Peter to have the most tragic arc, more so even than Thor in the MCU so far. Like you look at all the losses he's taken a lot of losses. And maybe not as bad as Thor, I'll say.
Yeah, not as bad as Thor yet.
He's second, but he's second. Like, and especially because he's a teenager, it's you feel a little bit worse for him. Like right now, he's alone. He's on his own. You know what I'm saying? Which I think like kind of coincides with what we're talking about as far as him being the coronation of Spider-Man. Shitty New York apartment, no money, nobody really knows who he is, doesn't have any family, and he's just going to be your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's going to be, I think his arc is set up to be in a position where he has to laugh to keep him crying. And if they go the route of the Venom symbiote, it would make a ton of sense for that to be the next villain in Spider-Man 4 because of I could see him being the best, being the real like black suit Spider-Man version. Like if we're going to keep up with this like this universe as it is now and nobody knowing who he is, like I could see him kind of being a bit depressed. And then like that, however, like Venom suit comes, takes him over, whatever happens with that, and then like we get like a darker version of Spider-Man than what we've seen. And obviously he'll come bounce back from that. But I think that'd be a great arc for him to go in Spider-Man 4. And then Spider-Man 5 could be like Kraven the Hunter hunting him or some shit like that. I don't know. And then Spider-Man 6, we finally get Sinister Six. That's what I would like to happen next for him. As far as
Kraven when the sky is shattered.
Yeah.
Isn't that like what's going to happen with Doctor Strange in the next one?
We don't. So with Doctor Strange, we don't know. That's the thing. I don't know if they're going to like reset the shit and like nothing happened. Everything that happened in Spider-Man's movie didn't happen, or like I don't know what they're gonna do. I just want them to fucking bring mutants in and fucking Reed Richards, but I don't know if that shit's gonna happen. Like that's all I want. I don't give a fuck about the rest of the multiverse shit, and I want to see if they do anything with Kang, but I don't. They don't necessarily have to do anything with Spider-Man.
I fucked around and read, which I never do, and I just was hungry for content. I read a rumor leak thing on the Doctor Strange movie. If it's true, this is about to be the craziest goddamn MCU movie in the history of the MCU, and I am here for all of it.
Isn't madness in the title?
It's dude. To the level at which you think it, like when we're talking about bringing in characters from different universes and stuff, this movie has the opportunity potentially, if it's even a modicum of what's being right in this thing. This is about to be the craziest goddamn thing that ever happened in the MCU. I'm all for it because Doctor Strange is not. I actually think Doctor Strange is about to be the linchpin of the MCU compared
That's
to any
what I wanted
person.
to say. You guys are talking about Spider-Man was like set up to be the.
He was, but not anymore, in my opinion. It's
like,
Strange.
It might be Doctor Strange.
It's Doctor Strange. I think that they are centering around Doctor Strange now.
All of, like,
unless you're going to keep like the New
movie.
York Earth guys compared to the Mystic Arts guys doing something else, maybe then the guys in space doing another thing. I don't know.
That's Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I can see that. Huh. Interesting. I guess I absolutely see that. Like I said, I teased a little earlier. I need a Noah Baumbach back, Marriage Story Part 2 with fucking Tobey Maguire's goddamn Spider-Man and MJ in their fucking 40s with kids trying to figure shit out. There's fucking robberies happen, crime is invested, and then he's like, MJ, I could stop all this stuff. You're never fucking home to it's just I need that shit. I need a divorce.
See, I don't want that version. I want the like kind of Tony and Pepper Potts version where like they're like so in sync by now. They're so in sync. Okay, like they're like, all right, hey,
maybe.
Okay, boom.
Look,
still like I want
a trilogy. So we have time for both of those things to happen. So I also need, and I don't know who the director is going to be. I was thinking maybe a Robert Rodriguez. To give me some Andrew Garfield. I ain't fucking holding punches back. Spider-Man. I'm fucking angry over what's happened to Gwen. I'm not fucking around. Motherfuckers are dying out here in these New York streets because Spider-Man don't give a fuck. Jonah Jameson is on TV. All right, he's a vigilante, and we need to probably rein him in. These are extrajudicial killings that Spider-Man is doing. And Garfield's like, Jonah, you want to fucking be next? Stop fucking playing with me. Like, that's what I want to see. And maybe after this also it brings up another thing that I don't fucking understand after No Way Home. Do the other Peters that go back to the universes remembered?
I think so.
I'm assuming so.
Why?
Deeper question. If the spell was casting people to come who knew who Spider-Man was, why was Venom there? He did. Why was he there?
The idea of Venom would be because of the hive mind. The hive mind crosses against all the multiverse.
They should have
it's bullshit. Exactly. It's bullshit. There's a lot of plot holes in the fucking movie. Right? There's a lot of things that don't make sense.
I think he did say that though in one of the two movies.
But the other thing to me goes is that I get this Peter Parker is he's lost everybody he really cares about. That being said, they just forget Peter. So at any given point in time, he could still go upstate New York, hit up the Avengers and be like, yo, you remember I'm the dude to help you guys with Civil War. I know you guys have secret shit. How about you just hook me up with some cash, this, that, and the other. You know, Spider-Man, I'm the dude. Like, his life doesn't have to be complete dog shit. He can always choose to do what he needs to do or try to figure it out. If he wants to go, fucking go talk to Hawkeye. Hey, Hawkeye, how do you make it work? Is it that really hard? Like, should I just go get a compound? What should I do? Can you guys get some, like, SHIELD agents to take care of MJ for me? Like, you can figure it out to a certain degree. There's just some shit
right now.
Huh?
He's
in Tobey Maguire's apartment in fucking
fucking sad.
Again, he's sad. Like, what my favorite scene in the entire movie was the last scene. Was the scene in the donut shop. That's the one that I think that it was absolutely incredible, and the acting was so on point. And even MJ still with the Black Dahlia necklace on, so she remembers something. Not quite that it's Peter, but also Doctor Strange. Like, if you cast a spell, you don't remember either. But how
that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody remember. Like, he couldn't even get happy.
There's some problems with the fucking movie, man. But
I think I think a part of them, I think they had to have this just in case they didn't come to a new deal. So my theory was that they were like, okay, well, we don't know if we're gonna be able to continue doing this with Sony. And so here's what's gonna happen with that. Everybody in the MCU is gonna forget who he is. All the accomplishments, everything. Yep. This was their way of like making sure, like, of building like in some like some cushion. Just in case.
But if in the next movie he says, fuck it, I can't deal. MJ, here I am. Would we be right for being pissed?
Yeah.
That the emotional weight that they drag us through with the final act in that movie is just undone? Like, it would be aggravating. It'd be extremely aggravating. I don't know how they're going to do this cleanly. Because Zendaya, I mean, and the other thing, like, I'm worried about Tom Holland. I mean, I'm actually worried about Tom. In the sense of, you can tell they talk about all the time. He wants to settle down, maybe have a kid with Zendaya. I don't know if she's on that wavelength right now, but they'll figure that out.
Malcolm and Marie.
If Uncharted does good, that's another fucking film franchise. That's the way studios work now, baby. Mm-hmm. You talk about you gonna have 2 fucking Disney franchises that you gotta carry, bud, and then you want to start a family, sir? It don't work that way. Like, there's some shit that's going to happen to Tom right now that I'm actually kind of a little worried about him. I just think it's going to be daunting.
That's the thing he said, where he starts playing Spider-Man at 30.
And that's clean break if they do the clean break, but I don't think any MCU fan are going to be okay with this being the last time we see Spider-Man and anything, especially if he's out here. Oh, did I break out a little bit?
Huh.
Everybody else's video just went away for a second.
Stop for a second for me.
Okay. I don't know. I just don't know where it is they're going to go from here within the MCU. I know what I dream about with Garfield. I know what I dream about with Maguire. Because I just think those would be good. And you could do it if you wanted to.
Yeah, let Tom Hardy go against Andrew Garfield. I'd love to see it.
What about that would be Adrian Bryant news? Adrian Bryant.
Was that legit?
I believe so.
What legit?
Adrian Bryant as Miles Morales.
Oh no, that's not legit. That was fun.
Oh, why didn't you tell me?
I thought you were like, because there was a joke like with that tweet. I thought you were just
I didn't read it yet. I just saw it. I'm like, that's the kid that was singing in all them goddamn struggle videos.
I didn't know who he was.
I thought that was like the joke, because there was a joke going on about it, and so.
Oh, so I mean, I guess it still could be Childish Gambino.
No, he's too old.
No, he's too old. But they go with the kid from Blackish before they go with.
But didn't he say, like, he's like, yeah, I have my cousin, or like my little cousin or something?
He's not Miles. His cousin's Miles.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. His nephew.
Was a nephew. Okay.
He's technically the Prowler. From the Into the Spider. Yeah.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
Yeah,
but it's fun, man. I'm super excited about the next. I'm super excited about Doctor Strange, probably more than anything coming out of this movie. I want to just keep it going, baby. Let's keep this train rolling.
To me, still the most anticipated Marvel film for me next year is Love and Thunder for Thor. Like that, there's
that
no
goes
way they
without
can
saying. Come on,
Christian fucking Bale. You got Christian fucking Bale to play a villain. Oh, and he's playing Gore the God Butcher. Oh my lord, my lord. Like if you like to all of our viewers, if you've never read Jason Aaron's like Thor run, like the first I think like 9 issues deals with like Gore the God Butcher. Just read it. It's great. Like it's fucking great. Like because like okay, James, I don't know if I told you this before. I probably have because I love Gore. But like Thor versus Gore takes place over like 3 time periods. So it's like young Thor before he got Mjolnir. He just has like the axe. And then like Mjolnir Thor with like Avengers and everything. And then like older Thor where he's old as fuck looking like Odin, got an eye patch, got his arm cut off and everything. And like Gore's like a badass fucking villain. And he's just fucking great. And if Christian Bale plays it, I can't fucking wait to see what they do with that. Because they like Taika Waititi has already said like it's not going to be like Ragnarok. It's not going to be a fucking comedy. And so I'm like, oh, they're going to give me a good movie. they're going to give me a deep movie. I can't wait for that. I can't wait.
Taika's just going to do something that we know is going to be great because he doesn't do shit. So
it's funny. Like when you said Gore, thought about Mortal Kombat only.
I
watched that last night.
I have Ragnarok and Doctor Strange higher than you guys, right?
I don't think you have Ragnarok. You definitely
Ragnarok was 3 for me.
Ragnarok is like 3 or 4 for me.
I had 5.
5. Okay.
But yeah, Doctor Strange isn't even in my top 10.
It was 10 for me.
You gotta watch the What If episodes, man.
This movie.
It's just
I don't understand. You need
like,
to
it's
watch.
So fucking important.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I actually think you almost did yourself a disservice in the Spider-Man movie by not seeing What If.
I honestly don't like the animation style that you use.
I get it. It's not great. It's not my favorite.
Yeah.
It feels like cheap Disney shit. Like I'm not a huge
what
fan
part
of
are y'all talking about right now?
Any of it. The What If animation is just not.
Not
fun.
Nah, I mean you'll get used to it. It's not.
Like, What If also has some bad episodes,
but it's like needed.
Yeah.
What If has some bad episodes. Dude, just watch episode 4. Skip over everything until 4, and then once you do 4, I think it's like 4, and then the last 2 that matter.
Man, the last one I was like, what the fuck?
Because that's the thing is that you're not going to be able to watch Doctor Strange without watching What If.
You have to.
Period.
Okay.
It's not like each episode's an hour. Like you can run through it in a night.
Yeah, I'll do that for my birthday. I'll just watch them.
When's your birthday?
Tomorrow.
Oh, happy early birthday, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Did you get a text?
I'll have to check.
All right. Birthday gift.
Okay, I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
All right, we're wrapping this up.
Yeah, so I guess like final thoughts, right?
No, we do final thoughts on these?
No.
All right, we can.
It's up to you. I mean, King?
Go ahead.
Matrix Resurrection is very misunderstood nowadays, and I'm getting upset. I'm getting really upset about the words I'm hearing about from Matrix Resurrections. There are a few people that I really, really respect their movie opinions, and I think I'm on the same wavelength as a few of them. I do hate that anytime it's like in Matrix Resurrections on YouTube, to look at other people, like you want to hear some people talk about it in the same vein you are. It's just dog shit, worst fucking movie ever. This is the worst piece of shit in this.
Don't waste your time.
It's worth watching. And I'm sorry, the Wachowskis are filmmakers that are worth checking out when they do shit. There are few people that can ever say that they've ever been labeled a visionary. The Wachowskis are, and they deserve our attention when they make shit. And that's just what I'm going to say. I understand that fucking Jupiter Channing Tatum movie was not good. I get it. I understand, but they gave us the original trilogy, and they always gave us Bound. And they gave us a movie that has now been reclaimed by Gen Z, even though I was on board from a while ago. Speed Racer is fucking great. I don't care what anybody says. It is visually stunning, and it mirrors exactly what the anime was. Oh, we were talking about anime earlier? I've seen every Speed Racer episode like 5 times. It was my shit growing up.
You talk about me with First Kid.
fuck you. Speed Racer was the shit.
Racer was classic, though.
Speed Racer is a classic cartoon. And when you understand what the Wachowskis were doing with the animation and everything in that movie, if you're a fan of the anime series, they nailed it. They fucking nailed it. It's great. And John Goodman's awesome. And Emil Hirsch is fucking awesome. If you ever seen The Girl Next Door, one of my favorite goddamn movies of all time. It's good.
Like movie too.
Watch Resurrections. It's worth your time. If you are a diehard Matrix person that only cared about bullet time and the action, and you walk away from this movie not loving it, I understand. And there are reasons, and I get it, and we can discuss it. And I'd also say directors need to film on film more than digital, and stop shooting with a really high frame rate. It's why I can't watch Gemini Man, and I won't watch Gemini Man. The fucking frame rate's too fucking high. Tone it down just a bit. Blur is okay sometimes. That's it.
All right. Ken, do you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go. I just want to expand on my love for, I can't wait for Thor Love and Thunder. Like, I literally cannot wait for it, man, because they're combining like that Gore the God Butcher storyline with the Lady Thor storyline, which I also think will be great. I think Natalie Portman will play a great Thor. Like, she's a good actress. And I just can't wait to see what they do with that, man. Like, I'm more excited to see what the outcome of the multiverse of madness is, and like the things that are folded into it, the characters and the potential like fallout of it. But as far as just a film, I have nothing but high hopes for Thor Love and Thunder. I feel like it's going to be in my top 3. Like, if they do it right, it'll be in my top 3, like Marvel films.
Okay. Mine, I got 3. I'm going to keep all short. First, rest in peace, John Madden. Found out the news yesterday. It's my man's, like, since forever. A lot of people are armchair QBs and analysts because of him, and how he can relate to everybody with all the different phrases and shit he says. I'll talk about that more on ASOS the next time we do it. All right. Second, wear your mask. Even if you don't wear your mask, still isolate. Mom's caught COVID. Everything's good. Dad is still negative, thank God, because he beat cancer twice. So we were all worried about him. And then my wife and I don't have it. We're good. I just got 4 home tests delivered today. So I'm going to use that tomorrow at some point. Mainly for my mom. Like, we're all going to try one, then if we're all negative, then we'll just give the rest to her, see what she got. Yeah. And then the final thing is James Bond. You need to see it. Not going to say anything else to spoil anything for you guys, but just watch it and have a discussion in the comments or on Twitter. Got banned because some of y'all butthurt Washington football team fans couldn't take a joke. Shit was funny. Fuckers. All right. That's all I got.
You had to bring that up in this podcast. It was uncalled for, you cocksucker.
Prime example. There you go.
That's why your ass got banned, bitch.
Back, bitch.
Well, suspended. I don't think this. All right, where are we gonna end this? Yeah. Who's host? Who's ending? James, Keem. You guys figure it out?
Like, we already did the final thought, so yeah, that's typically where we just.
All right, fuck it. Peace, bitches. Bye.
Peace.